Guys, and welcome back to another fight prediction video. This is going to be for LFA 105, which is coming to you live on Friday. And we're going to skip the prelims and just get right into the main card. So without further ado, the first fight of the night is going to be Pauga at light heavyweight coming up against Logan. So Pauga's coming in 2-0, 5-0 as an amateur, training at Elevation Fight Team in Colorado, which you absolutely love to see. That's a really great camp. Last time we saw him was very recently in LFA, and he came out with a first round KO. And he's pretty quick for his size. Like, he moves well, good footwork. He's got good hands. He's got really big power. And a lot of people were on him for the last fight, including me. I think a lot of people are going to be on him for this fight too, and for good reason. Coming up against Logan, who is 2-1, who's big, tall, long, really long reach, like 79 inches or something like that. His last fight was 2 years ago, though. That's a pretty big layoff. Pauga has not had even close to that. You know, he fought really recently. But you know, Nail was training for a fight in January, so I'll give him that. He was probably in real good shape. You know, at the start of the year for that January fight that eventually fell through, and you know, obviously that's going to translate into this camp as well. I think he'll be in good shape. I just don't know if he's going to be quite as skilled, and I think he might have a little bit of ring rust after that layoff. So I'm going to be going with Pauga in this one. I think he probably gets it done by knockout. And then moving on to the next one at welterweight, we have Hiroto Valente coming up against Mark Martin. So Valente, 7-3, solid game. He's fought pretty good competition. His last fight was a win on Bellator 2 years ago, and you know, he has a fight in ACB, so he's fought pretty good guys. Pretty good record, you know, just a solid all-around game. I liked what I saw out of him, you know, from the tape for the most part. But coming up against Mark Martin here, who's 5-1, a former Ohio State wrestler. And he's training at the MMA Lab in Phoenix, which is another really good camp. A lot of good guys there, and a lot of guys at the MMA Lab recently who have been fighting recently and getting wins. So I really feel confident in his camp. And he's 2-0 in the LFA, is Mark Martin. And he fought a couple months ago. And I just think that his wrestling is going to be too much for Valente in this one. I think he's going to be able to use his power and get it down, land some ground and pound, work some top control. And I just see Mark Martin getting it done with his wrestling in this one, really. So yeah, Mark Martin's definitely going to be the pick in this one. That's what I'm going with. And yeah, I just think the wrestling is going to be a little bit too much in this one. I think that's going to be the difference maker. Then moving on to another light heavyweight bout, it's going to be Souto coming up against Christian Torres. So Torres is 15-11. He's a bit of a journeyman. He has a ton of fights, obviously. I think he's going to be a bit slower than Souto is in this one. He's got some decent wins. He's got some not so great losses, you know. 15-11, there's going to be a couple of those, but you know, he's always game, and he's definitely live in this fight. You know, this isn't like an instant write-off or anything like that. But Souto, you know, he's 13-3. He hasn't fought in 2 years, whereas Torres has kind of been constantly in action for a long time. And all his losses were at least 6 or more years ago. A lot of them were a lot longer ago than that. He's on a 7-fight win streak right now. I think he's going to be faster, and I just think he's going to be a little better. Like, watching Souto, you know, he can have some explosive moments. He's quick. He puts pressure on. And I just feel like Torres is going to be backing up for a large part of this fight. And I just think that Souto is just a little bit better here. But obviously he's been off for a while, so you really don't know. This wouldn't really be one that I'm looking to throw big money on or anything like that. But I do like Souto in this one, and that's probably where my pick's going to be here. Then moving on another time, and we're going to have Tabitha Ricci coming up against Shawna Ormsby. This is going to be at women's strawweight. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this one, guys, to be honest with you. Tabitha Ricci, last time we saw her, she was a massive favorite. Got it done easily with the submission in the first round, which is pretty much what everyone thought was going to happen. And I guess that's what it's looking like for this one, too. I mean, she's minus 1,500 favorite this time, which is just crazy. I think that's an even bigger favorite than she was last time, and I don't think her opponent is worse than the last opponent she had. However, I mean, like, you know, we've seen more of her skill set, and I guess, you know, the odds makers know, you know, she's looking to get it done early on the ground, and she probably will. Shawna Ormsby is coming in at 2-3, and I just don't. Once again, I just think this is an opponent that isn't really on Ricci's level. So going with Tabitha Ricci again, probably by submission, probably in the first round. You know, minus 1,500 favorite. Maybe add it to a parlay if you want, but really not great value on it. But yeah, Tabitha Ricci on this one. That's going to be the pick. And moving on now to the co-main event of the night, we have Jake Childers coming up against Kanan, Kawaihi, and this is going to be at featherweight. So Jake Childers, 8-1. His last fight was his first loss, and that was really his first taste of real adversity. You know, he's been the better guy in every single fight he's had up until then. But, you know, he had moments in that fight for sure. In the second round, like, he had the back, and he was looking at getting a rear naked choke locked in. He was really close. It looked like he was going to get a triangle in that second round. It looked like Gonzalez was about to tap out to that. But, you know, he's a tough guy, really well-rounded, and he's been in those deep waters before. You know, if the fight happens to go there, he's not going to be stressing that, I don't think. And then on the side of Kawaihi, he's 5-1. His last fight was 3 years ago against Tim Tevez. And we just saw Tim Tevez last week on LFA, and he put on a really good performance. Ended up getting caught in a triangle late against Javier Garcia, but he looked really good in that fight. And Tim Tevez is a prospect that, you know, I really respect his game. I think he's a good fighter, so I don't think that, you know, I don't take that win lightly. That's a good win to me, especially the fact that he was like probably 20 years old at the time of that fight. I would say he's 23 now, so he's really young. But, you know, Childers will definitely be the toughest matchup that he's had, I would assume. And, you know, he's coming off a layoff you know, pretty decent layoff, like 3 years. But, you know, he's only 23, so he's still young, so I don't think that's going to affect him quite as much as it would, you know, an older guy. He's got really good power, really good striker. He fought Chase Hooper 3 years ago on Dana White's Contender Series, and he absolutely, like, dominated him on the feet in the first round. You know, rocked him a number of times, looked miles better than him on the feet. But he just gassed out pretty hard, and then Chase Hooper was able to basically drown him at the end and get a decision. But, you know, he's got really good striking, good power, and he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu too. You know, there was times in the ground where he had Chase Hooper in compromising positions, and you know, he's definitely no joke on the ground either. But I would say his stand-up is probably the stronger part of his game. But I just feel like Josh Childers, his veteran experience, his fight IQ, his experience of being in tough positions is gonna prevail here. And I think that Jake Childers is just gonna be a little bit too much for him. I think this is definitely going to be his toughest matchup. I don't know if he'll be ready to fight a guy like Childers here. And Childers, coming off his first loss, his first real adversity, is definitely going to be wanting to right those wrongs and to come out here and get a win. I think that Childers is going to look good in this one. I think that he's going to be threatening on the feet, but I really think that he's going to be threatening on the ground. I think he's going to be looking for, to get the fight down and to really work some top control, look for some submissions, and just kind of eat into that gas tank. Just make it difficult. Try to gas him out. Try to, you know, make his arms heavy. Try to force him to be explosive to get out of compromising positions. And I think that eventually Josh Childers is going to get the best of him. I think this is probably going to go to the decision, though. You know, Kawaihi is a tough guy, and he's definitely live in this one. But I'm going with Jake Childers here, and I think there's some pretty good value on him at minus 145. Let me just get the updated odds here, or as update, yeah. Minus 145 is what I was last seeing him at, so I think that's pretty decent value on Jake Childers in this one. And that's going to be my pick. I'm going with Childers. And then moving on to the main event, it's a women's strawweight fight with Piera Rodriguez coming up against Svetlana Gotsyk. And Rodriguez is 5-0. She's an aggressive striker coming out with good hands. You know, she looks to put the pressure on you, really take the fight to you. And put you on your heels right away. And then we have Svetlana Gotsyk, who's 13-4, training at American top team, which obviously you really like to see. She's only 24 years old. She has a ton of armbar finishes. She fought Weili Zhang in 2016, which, you know, she lost. But as far as women's strawweight goes, man, that is not a bad loss to have on your resume. If anything, you know, that's good to say that, like, you fought Weili Zhang probably when you were like 19 or 20 years old. She's only 24 years old now. This was back in 2016, which is really impressive, man. One of her losses was to 2014 to Ovchinnikova. That's another tough matchup, which she would have been extremely young for, right? So she's got a wealth of experience already. Only at 24 years old, she has 17 pro fights, which is just nuts, to, you know, good opposition. And she's really quick. She's accurate with her hands. Obviously, she's a threat on the ground, right? She's got arm bars on arm bars on arm bars. And as much as I like Piera Rodriguez, as much as I like what I've seen from her, Svetlana Gotsyk, man, like, she looks really good. She looks legit, and I wouldn't be surprised to see her getting, like a UFC shot in the future. So I'm going to be on Svetlana Gotsyk here. I think minus 215 is a pretty good price for her. And, I'm definitely going to consider putting money on her there. And I think that, I think I'd like to have her on a parlay too. I like what I see out of Svetlana Gotsyk. I like Piera Rodriguez too, but it's just, Gotsyk's resume and the tools that she brings, that's definitely who I'm going to be on in this main event. So those are going to be my picks for LFA. I'm going with Pauga, Martin, Souto, Ricci, Childers, and Gotsyk. Those are going to be my picks. Best of luck this Friday, guys, on LFA if you choose to bet it. Thank you guys for watching with me. Keep it locked in with me, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.